Are we on live, Diamond?
All right. Well, Coach CeCe.
Hey.
Hey. All right. I had to check and make sure that we were on.
Yes. Hi, how you doing, Dr.
Hey.
Renee? Sam Renee. Nay, nay.
Oh, yeah. All right. Listen, I am so glad to see you today.
I'm glad to see you too. It's a great day.
It is. It
Bye.
is. It is. And wanted to do this pop up live with you because every time we get together, we always drop in some juicy nuggets. And I think that the whole wide world should hear about it. What you think?
The whole wide world. Okay.
The wide world, right?
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
what we started to do real quick is what did we call this? We called this cookies. So, I'm not endorsing, but cookies, cocktail, and convos with Riri and CeCe.
Hey.
So, y'all, if y'all haven't guessed it, I know that I usually go by Dr. Sarah Renee, but because Renee is my middle name, we're gonna go in rhyme. So Riri, that's me. And
That's
then
you today.
right.
I said that's you tonight because you call me Riri or people call me Riri,
I
right?
know
From
exactly.
back in
That's
the
why I was
day.
like, wait a minute. I was like, oh, I am Riri. Okay, Renee. Someone had
Right.
asked me one time, is it Renee or Renee? And I had to ask my mom one time. I was like, Mom, I said, is it Renee or Renee? She was like, it is Renee. So Riri and my counterpart, CeCe.
CeCe, hey. How y'all doing tonight? I'm trying to find it so I can share it on my page. Can I do that or no?
Oh, you know what? You know why no one may be able to see it because I got it locked. Let me see. Let me go ahead and edit this thing.
And I'll just keep eating my cookies.
Well, you're not supposed to eat it. You're supposed to wait. Dang it. But
It's so good.
I hear you. All right. Now we're not able to share it right now. Let me see if I can unlock it so that the whole wide world can see it. But in the meantime, we decided to get together because so much is going on. And with our background in counseling,
Yes.
we saw how the latest trending stuff that's going on in the world, from you name it, the celebrities that's out here, that's wilding out,
Marlon.
caught on camera, getting, kind of blast on the media, social media, and beyond. And then having so many, and respectfully, so many people who are now, again, therapists out there, social media therapists, who feel like, okay, you know what? I saw someone post the other day, CC, that, oh, it doesn't take textbook or degrees or licenses to be able to say that that person is a narcissist or a textbook narcissist. How are you able to say as a textbook narcissist if you are saying that you don't need any degrees or academic you know
Right.
teaching or learning to be able to call it out? So
Yeah.
you and I were having a great convo and a flow, and every time we get together we always just flow. Whether we're having our cocktails and cookies, it's like, yo, I think that it's really good for us just to help the powers that be, the audience out there who's watching or who's going to have the opportunity to watch this, to really get a deeper meaning behind what is the latest conversation that we're going to have tonight or today, whenever you want to see it, if it's a replay. We just want to say thank you for all those who are tuning in, because you could have tuned in
Yes.
anywhere else, but you decided to tune in with us. So thank you so much for your time and making this all possible. Coach CC, as I work on the back end and getting this out there to everybody, can you
Yes.
lead us in the conversation about what we're going to talk about, real quick for the listening audience out there?
Absolutely. So let me first ditto Riri's Riri's introduction. Hey, when we get together, we flow. Some of the things are light and some of the things are a little bit more heavy, but because of our background in psychotherapy, therapy, and counseling, then we tend to go off to the side sometimes. But that side is amazing, right? And we just want to share it with you all. We want to share it with the world, just like she said. And so we're going to talk about somebody that I never thought I would be talking about, because I love this dude. You know what I'm saying? He had a lot of wonderful information to say. I got his audiobook. As a matter of fact, my little sister Diamond was driving my car a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, had tears in her eye because the CD just came on out of nowhere. And in the car, she's listening to these affirmations and things like that. And who is this book by? None other than Mr. Derrick Jaxn. I said it. Y'all know I said it. People talking about Derrick Jaxn. Yes, yes, yes. Look, I love that dude, or at least I did. And I don't really know how to feel about it no more, you know what I'm saying? But he is like, why I love him? Because first of all, he looked fine. He chocolate. And I got a thing for chocolate brothers. But that's besides the point, because over the past few years, since I've been kind of following him, he has so many wonderful things to say that edified my soul, that made me look at things differently. And then this past week, some hoopla comes out about him cheating. Like, what? Now, this conversation ain't about somebody cheating. You know what I mean? Like, that's unfortunately an age-old conversation. But it's more so about the term that was thrown out in the midst of people, diagnosing him or saying what his issue is, right? We quick to say what somebody else's issue is, but that's besides the point, because I too had a judgment, right? I'm gonna call it for what it is, because I don't know him, I ain't diagnosed him, I ain't sit down, he wasn't on the couch, so it's a judgment. But they're throwing out this term called narcissism. And they're throwing it out and they're saying, oh, he's a narcissist. Oh, look at what he did. And, all this stuff. So Riri and I got together and we just started talking about this term narcissism and how in today's society, it's becoming a little bit like a word that's kind of thrown out there, and people are just really like skating over the fact that it's in the DSM. So, Riri, tell us what I mean by DSM, or that it is in these textbooks, or, what do you have to add to, what I just said, besides that he a fine brother?
So thank you, Riri, or CeCe, because I'm Riri today, right? So right. Our conversation with you all while we're having our cookies. I didn't even see anybody drink. Did we do any drinking or eat some cookies?
Yeah, right? So we're going to cheers to that.
We're going to have a conversation. Like, we just really wanted to chime in, but also invite you all to share your thoughts and views. We're talking about, it's only fair. The other week I talked about, Kirk Franklin, not to bash him, but just to help and to bring some light on, a deeper conversation regarding what has happened and transpired with him and his family. Now it's only fair that we talk about Derrick Jaxn and all that's coming up right now. And the thing that concerned us with CeCe and myself was the fact that everybody throwing out the term about this textbook narcissism. Now, the challenge that we have with that is, like CeCe said, because I gotta keep remember I'm Riri.
Right.
That it's narcissistic personality disorder is in the DSM, which stands for Diagnostic Statistical Manual, that many of us clinicians go by to help to diagnose and to treat, so accordingly to what that is. Now, again, we're not trying to have a conversation about all of that. If y'all really want to know more about that, you can always sign into our DMs and have a further conversation if you feel like we need to go ahead and to diagnose you and treat you. However, we just wanted to shed some light real quick over some cookies and cocktails in this conversation. And again, you can always chime in. We're watching you in our comment section, so feel free to share your thoughts and views in regards to the whole Derrick Jaxn story. The thing is that we don't want you to get to a place of being desensitized, where, like, similar to like Crying Wolf, So you hear it over and over and over and over to the point that now you hear it so much, it's like you're immune to it. You don't even know what narcissism is. And if it bit you right in at your nose, like if it jumped at you, bite you in your nose. And we just want to make sure that it's clear that there is a difference between a diagnosis of a disorder versus having tendencies, or it's, some type of challenge with a personality. So we just want to make sure that it's clear that it would be great, to try your best to not keep throwing out the word narcissist, even if you may be right. And that's what we want to kind of clear up, like for you to understand, knowing the backstory, knowing the genesis, knowing where things started, and going from there, so that again, everybody, because it's like, I tell you the truth, CeCe, it seems like everybody seems to be a narcissist. That's what it gets me. I don't look up on here,
right,
unless I have to really clarify. I feel like I would be doing a disservice if I don't use my clinical background skills to address certain things.
Right.
So in this instance, because I've been seeing everybody calling everybody a narcissist, we just wanted to kind of clarify and clear the air so that it's clearer for you all who are now social media therapists on being mindful of using that term and understanding the difference between it being like, okay, he may have tendencies versus it actually being like a disorder. And, and there's some criteria to follow after that. Y'all may not even care. This is not for the ones who don't care. This is for the ones who are enlightened and want to know more. So that if, in case you are in a situation where you are unfortunately like old girl with the bonnet and, having to sit there and have to deal with all of that, that foolishness. I didn't even touch my cocktail yet. But, I'm just saying that this is maybe for you. We were talking about that earlier. I'm Riri. CeCe, in regards to, really wanting to pray for the girl, have to go through all of that. Because I tell you right now, if I was in that situation, listen, I'm not showing up on social media. I am not showing up on the media, having to now be by the person's side just to, to clear the air for the public view. I'm telling you, I wouldn't have been sitting on that couch. He would have been by himself talking all that.
Not with no bonnet.
Couch. Let alone with the bonnet. Okay.
I would have been looking fabulous. At least. Well,
Darren.
Let's drink to that. To looking fabulous. Because you look fabulous, my dear.
Who?
You look fabulous. You do.
Oh, thank you. You do too.
Well, thank you.
We got to give a shout out to our girl Sharon Clarkson. Thank you for tuning in. 253 are in the house.
Hey, thank you for tuning in. So let's get to a little bit of what it means to have narcissistic personality disorder, right? And so I'm going to read right here. It says it's a disorder in which a person has an inflated sense of self-importance, right? So you might say it's a whole bunch of people that got an inflated sense of self-importance. Well, let me continue on. How about that? All right. So narcissistic personality disorder is found more commonly in men. Okay. All right. The cause is unknown, but likely involves a combination of genetic and environmental factors. Symptoms include an excessive need for admiration, disregard for others' feelings, an inability to handle any criticism, and a sense of entitlement. The disorder needs to be diagnosed by a professional. Treatment involves talk therapy. Okay, so I said a lot right there, right? So this disorder, that's why I think with narcissism it's easy to get misconstrued as something else because of one's ability to have tendencies, right? And so in order to be a true narcissist, there's like all of the, in the DSM, there's criteria, for everything, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then it says something like for many things, you got to fit 4 of the 6 categories, things like that, right? So that's how you know if someone has true narcissistic personality disorder. But in the Derrick Jaxn situation, let's comb through a little bit of these symptoms. And there's symptoms. Right. And so I think that we need to understand that this is a disorder, people. So it's not something to make light of, Just like someone may have bipolar disorder, manic depressive disorder, or schizophrenia, or anxiety, or alcoholism, or drug addiction, it's a disorder, right? And so it's not something that you should skate by. But again, as Riri said, we use it so often in this cry wolf scenario that a lot of times, you know, we don't really call it for what it is. And sometimes we can miss it because of that. So we may be telling the truth. I mean, that person may be a narcissist, but it's so desensitized and just skated over that what that truly means is not looked at how it should be. Like how old girl, his wife, maybe need to look at the situation, because in a lot of these relationships, and I've been in a semi relationship with the narcissist, it's almost nothing you can do except run.
Run.
It's right. Like run, Forrest, run. Because this particular disorder involves therapy, but the person who has been a victim to this disorder, I guess if you will, is so detached and sometimes disassociated that they don't even understand that they have it. So that's very tough, as we've seen in the case of Derrick Jaxn doing a commentary on himself, because he can't bring it to himself, his other self, that was him. So now he has to talk about it in the third person, because in some respects, it was somebody else that did it. So how can you get help? How can you get real help for yourself when you can't even talk about yourself in the first person? Let's talk about that.
Listen. So again, for everybody who's tuning in, again, thank you so much for your time. You can always chime in. You can always put your comment in the comment section. We are talking about narcissism and Derrick Jaxn. We're trying to address and clear the air from a counselor perspective in regards to narcissism and how people keep throwing out that word. Seems like everybody and their mama, granddaddy, auntie, and cat have narcissistic personalities or tendencies where people now have a keen eye for it. Understand this though, the more that you keep thinking about something and focusing on it, the more it magnifies and you attract it. I just wanted to throw that nugget out there. I just really, I wanted to say that because I can tell you on two ways, and we're going to wrap up our time because what we're doing is having this cookie cocktails and conversation. I already started my cocktail apparently.
Me too, girl.
Cocktail and conversational convo with I'm Riri and CeCe, and we just really wanted to hear what y'all thoughts were. Look, with regards to Derrick Jaxn, he is the relationship guru or however he's called, where he seemed to have have fallen, and I guess we need to bring some grace to it, and that's where we want to kind of bring it home. When he did his commentary on himself in the third person, with my hat off as a counselor, I was like, the foolery. Like, what is this? Why are you commenting on yourself in the third person as if that's not you? But then wanted to tie it in because I can't be mad at him in terms of being a business person. He's gonna go ahead and put a plug in about his book. Wow, that's not classic narcissism. But if I would put my hat back on, and you can look at it on two ways, three ways. Way is, like Coach CeCe said, there was absolutely hands down no way that he could take on that persona of the person who fell short, because when it comes to narcissistic tendencies, understand projection. We all project. I'm already talking about the other side of it, but we all project. On a surface level, we present the way that we present for the fact of what we want to put our best foot forward. We want people to like us, to accept us, to appreciate us. But because on the core level, like deep down within, the insecurities that we have is opposite of what we present. So what am I saying? I'm just saying that if you want to present that you are, on top of the world, that you're on your game, that you are great, oftentimes, whatever you're presenting on the surface level, on the core level, you feel opposite of that. You feel like you're nothing. You feel like you're insignificant. You feel like you're small. That's if someone has a broken ego. If a person is in pieces. Hey, we all been there. Many of us, most of us may feel that way right now. However, in this case, when it comes to, just to help y'all out, want to call things narcissist and all that, when it comes to a narcissistic tendency or personality, um, the core trait on a surface level is all about looking great, having an identity. Because on the flip side of that, from a core deeper level, that person feels like they're nothing. So there was no way in the world. That was like a life or death situation. If he were to have taken on that persona of the fact that that was him, in fact him, which it in fact was him that he was talking about in third person, if he would have even owned that and say that that was me, I own it, blah, 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 it was too much for him. He could not do that. And therefore understand that any of us, if we were not so much in that situation, but in our own situation, where it's just too much, that if we were to own something, that it could be like life or death, meaning that we just could not take that thing on. Because if we did, we wouldn't want to live. It's just that deep, and it's just that deep down broken situation.
Right.
So that was his solution, to do it in third person, and not own it. But understand that the grace of it, I was looking at Fred Hammond. He I saw Fred Hammond, the gospel singer. He did a commentary, a quick one. And he started off the conversation by he showed the Busted Challenge, where it was a girl. And I actually thought, so when I saw the meme floating out, I remember seeing the Busted Challenge with this girl that had a bonnet on her head. And when she sat down, I forget what it was supposed to turn into, but what happened was they had the girl with a bonnet on and sat down. It then flipped over to Derrick and his wife sitting and talking. They're having a bonnet on their head. But anyway.
The internet wins again. Internet.
Right. Internet always wins.
Not the internet, the internet.
Understand that the grace of it all is, hey, y'all, we all fall short. We all fall short. Right. And this one girl that's in my counseling group that I'm in has shared, I wanted to read that real quick, and then Coach CeCe, you have it. She said, you know what? I get it. He's a disappointment. He was expected to practice what he preaches. He didn't. Yet, how many people on this post can honestly say you have lived your life 100% according to your own advice? I'm pretty certain the answer is 0. Let's learn from their experience instead of trashing them. It's the professional and mature thing to do. And hey, you know what? I get that thing. I'll leave it with this, and Coach CeCe, you got it. If, while that is true, what the person said, and I wanted to give credit to that person who said that. I did a screenshot of her, of who said that. But if that being true, because yes, we all fall short, and sometimes we don't follow our own advice. The only challenge to that, and I want to give a shout out, it was Christine Harris. So Christine Harris, thank you for that post. That the challenge is owning your mess so that your message comes through. Own your mess so then we can hear your message. Oftentimes, Derrick had trashed so many people, but the whole time, why was he trashing it so hard? This is beautiful. This is where my counseling hack has to come back on. It was fascinating from a counselor standpoint. Is that the whole time why he was trashing people, it was him that he was trashing. Every person that he would trash, especially the men who were cheating on their, spouses, whatever, he's giving this advice because it was something about himself that he wasn't liking. And all he was doing was really bashing himself. He saw himself on every single person that he was trashing and bashing because he did not like that about himself. I mean, now, if you were to really put everything together, everybody, that's what was going on.
Right.
So all he had to do now, instead of, unfortunately, because his ego isn't strong enough, because the challenge with narcissists is it's an identity thing. So he could not take on that persona. However, the challenge is if he were to be able, because that's where the grace comes in, that's where the healing comes in. If he would just own it he would start to get the healing, as opposed to coming in and talking in third person and then promoting his book. All you have to do is just own your stuff. And that's where I just want to leave it with everybody. That's the difference. Yeah, we all fall short. But if you can now redeem yourself by owning it.
Right.
In spite of the fact that it happened a year ago, because the person that I read, Christine, was talking about how this happened a year ago, they worked through their problems, and now it just so happened to come out. Just own your stuff. Admit, apologize, heal, move on. Then it will have been received a little bit better. We will be able to receive Derrick's message as opposed to the way that he's going about it. So with that said, hey, Coach CeCe, I said a lot. I'm going to go ahead to my cocktail. And everybody, please, y'all go ahead and chime in. We see you. We see your comments. We thank you so much for tuning in. Y'all talk back to us as we wrap this up and close. You know, what's y'all thoughts? But go ahead, Coach CeCe.
Yes. So I'll drink to that, first of all. Yeah, you said a handful, but it was all necessary to be said. I just want to reiterate this ego thing. And perhaps when I read what the definition of what narcissistic personality disorder is, it talked about it's more common in men than it is in women because of this ego part, right? So we all know that a lot of men struggle with this ego. And what seems to occur in people that have narcissistic personality disorder is that there's a break. I like to say it's a break in their soul that occurred not when they were probably 25 or 30, but this happened yesteryears, many years ago, as many of the holes that are apparent and present in our souls today have when we were 5, 10, 15, 20 years old. Who knows, right? But it was so traumatic that this person now has to step outside of themselves, and now they cannot accept that feeling anymore. And so they have to, just like, I was about to say Dr. Sarah, because it is Dr. Sarah, but just like Riri said, because that's who she is tonight, just like Riri said, then they have to, like, they're looking through a lens and they see themselves through it, but they can't bear to stand in that position. And so what narcissists tend to do is to attach to empathetic people, because it's something that they wish that they had on the opposite spectrum. And so they tend to attach to these people that are far to the left and have these emotions because it's something that they totally don't have. So narcissists, I'm telling you, a true narcissist is kind of like a tornado in your life. And it's very unfortunate. And it's not that they don't want to love or that they mean to purposely do these things, because in a disorder, it's not something that you're necessarily aware of. And when you do become aware of it, they do exactly what Derrick Jaxn did. You step out of it and then you start talking in third person. Like, woo, look at that person. Woo, look at that, right? If you're dealing with a true narcissist, you can probably pretty much pick out who they truly are by the conversations that they have. Like, if they talk a lot about gay people, he gay, I would never do that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you might want to, look, I don't care to do this, but if you're in a relationship with them, you might want to look in that closet a little bit, right? I've dealt with a narcissist in some capacity, and I'm telling you, and it was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like, in one setting, there was this fear, this roaring lion, right? And in another setting, it was different because this is this personality change, right? And so this is where this manipulation thing comes from. And so what I told Riri is I feel for the girl. I really do, because I understand the headspace. It's so, man, for those of you who have been in a relationship with the narcissist, you understand what I'm talking about. It'll have you going crazy. The gaslighting will have you think that, you're crazy. You be like, did I say that? Didn't I? The manipulation is so, like, professional. Like, these people have become professional because they've had to, because they've started developing this type of personality from 5, 10 years old. They could be 40, 50 years old now. And so they even fool themselves. And so some may say, well, is it a pill that, they could take or something, like Prozac or something, right? The answer is no. And that's very unfortunate, because it's a personality disorder, right? And so talk therapy, I think I mentioned that when I was reading it. Talk therapy is where the healing is going to be at. But the hardest thing for a narcissist to do is to talk and not let it be about themselves all the time, right? So yes, as therapists, we want people to talk about themselves, but a narcissist is going to talk about, they're always going to be up here, right? They're never going to be their true selves. Or I'm not going to say never, but it's hard for them to be them true selves and say, hey, I feel sad today, and this was tough, and that really hurt me, and those things that we go through when we have just your normal personality and not necessarily a disorder. And so it's very hard to get a sense of healing. And so one who has true personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, has to continuously go through therapy and talk therapy. So it's not that, hey, it's a lost cause. Hey, I'm married to a narcissist. Hey, I have a sister or a mom that's a narcissist or something like that, and I can't be in a relationship with them. You just have to really know who they are and know how to move accordingly, because, they can get you tangled up in the web, right? And then you'll be like, wait a minute. You have to be aware of who they are, and then you have to encourage them to continue therapy. So I believe that Derrick Jaxn said that him and his wife are going to therapy, right? And that's all fine and dandy, but I'm hoping that he's also going to individual counseling as well, because that's what narcissists do. See, it's never about them, right? It's always about the other person that's making them do it or something, right? So they have to so he has to understand, no, it's me. Now, I won't say that. So some of y'all might say, well, no, hold up. He took accountability. He said that he fell short and he repented.
In the third
Lord,
he said it.
That's what's up, right? Because I fall short and I repent and I do love the Lord, right? But the thing is, this is the thing for me. It still was glazed over. I mean, maybe I could just feel it because I'm a counselor and I could feel that energy, but it still was a glazing over that. Like, it wasn't like I can't say it was a true repentance, but it wasn't a true repentance to the public. Like, I could see right through you still, like it was just kind of like still for show or at face value. It wasn't sincere to us. Now, I don't know what it was to the Lord, but what Reba was saying is, when you do somebody who may not be a narcissist, that none of this would have had to happen. You know what I mean? Like, this happened a year ago. Like, what you doing? Why are you saying it now? Then you had to go back. Then you had to do a commentary on yourself. Like, what is this? Right? So all of that is just kind of like, I don't know what that's for. And that's only what a true narcissist would do. And then it's sad because I felt for myself when I was trapped up in it for a little bit. I feel for any woman. I know women who are in the mix of that have lost their minds, that felt like they were losing their minds, that, it's not fun at all. And, I encourage her to really run, but I'm not going, I'm not going to, say that, or whatever. But what I'm saying is to just really understand what it is. And that's what she want to do. That's fine. Because, like, don't act crazy. We have cheating men that we deal with that's not narcissists, and we be right by their side every day. So that's a story for another day. So I ain't really talking about that. But we're just trying to bring light to the true existence of narcissists. And we need to just stop throwing it out there. Because one of my friends, he was just like, oh, well, they're a narcissist too. I mean, the way he responded was like, isn't everybody? Because that's what y'all girls say. Right. It's like the new, wine, like, rosé. Well, you know how rosé was like, oh, everybody drinks rosé now, and it's not that thing. And we really need to let it be whatever it is. So that's really all I wanted to say. Look it up. Stop like throwing it out there as if it's not a true situation. And if you're in a narcissistic relationship, find out truly what it is, get some help, and get out if you can. And for those of you who are I'm just saying, it's crazy. But those of you who are narcissists, get some help and get that talk therapy going on.
Hey, Coach CeCe, I have to remember who's CeCe, who's Riri. First of all, excellent commentary. And as always, I just appreciate you and your time and your wealth of knowledge. I wanted to go ahead and acknowledge those who had joined us. Thank you,
yes.
everybody, for tuning in and sharing your comments. I just want to read a couple of comments that people have shared here. Thank you for your commentary. Diamond was like, you know what? That was wild. He's a wild man. That's all I can say. And then she was like, you know what? The third person comment really took me out. And yes, please take accountability. And then we have Tawanda Hayes, 253 are in the house, another 253 in the house. Thank you so much, Tawanda. As a nurse, she's saying narcissists attach to empaths because they feed off the empathy needed to give, love, and fix. It's a user attaching to a person who with the need to give. As a nurse, I can share that they are often weak, yep, and need to abuse to regain and feel powerful. Absolutely. Very, very good. Well said. LaRonda, hey, LaRonda, how you doing? Thank you so much for tuning in as well. She said for him, it was all about him and saving face. And Tawanda further commented and said, narcissists will use something you love. If God is a strong force, they come with Bible verses. That is so true. Tawanda, don't have us bring you up on here. If you value family, they speak speak of the bond with the kids. If you are financially ambitious, they turn to wealth and investment conversations. It's all short-lived. Yes, thank you so much, everybody, for commenting. Absolutely right on point. We just want to share with you as we bring this time to a close, but that does not mean that we won't have a further conversation. Y'all make sure that y'all bring y'all cocktails. Make sure y'all bring y'all cookies. So we can have a real conversation within a good amount of time. But just to bring it to a close, if you are, if you or someone you love is narcissistic, it's narcissistic. Hey, DM us. Go ahead and slide into our DMs. What I want to say is the fact remains is there's always help, there's always hope. And for narcissists, it is about the identity. The challenge is their identity. They don't have one. So all hope is not lost. Talk therapy is always the way to go. Yes. Work on your ego and your identity. Like CeCe said, sometimes people are not aware. We're not aware of our trauma, of our diagnosis, of our disorders. And all trauma is pretty much when you are challenged with a stage that you did not complete, that you did not get the healthy ego strength or the support, your basic needs weren't met. And so sometimes we can be stuck in time in a situation that we were never able to get out of or to grow from or to heal or to mature. And unfortunately, when it comes to narcissistic tendencies, the whole issue has to do with identity. So that all that means is that there is still hope for someone who has narcissistic tendencies. And we only say to you, Derrick, that, it is about being able to own what you've done. You are a public figure. You have been in the public eye. And it is a matter of not just apologizing to the public to save face and save your money. Now, from a business standpoint, I get that thing. But it's also about what are you going to do after this? Are you getting the help that you need, but not just getting it just to say that you have therapy, but to actually take it on to help build up now. Sometimes things happen to get our attention for us to now work on something. So in this case, for you, Derrick, it is about your identity. It is about actually having a real identity that you can now redeem yourself from all of this and now be able to approach the situation and helping people, not just through bashing them, but the fact that you can now have a better story. That, I was also cheating. I too was my own client and I did this. But hey, I worked through this stuff and look at me now, and you too can do the same thing. That would be a great way of him and anybody who's going through this type of situation can actually get above it. Right. So all we're saying is that there is hope. Work on your identity, work on your persona, not just for the sake of the public eye and to make money, but to actually get the healing that you need, because this can be a greater story. His testimony can be even better now. Right. Because now the jig is up. He's been exposed, but I can see him bouncing through this and out of this situation if now just own it, so that now we can get your message, and now it can be even greater because, hey, you can own it and also help other people who have been in the situation that you're in, but now it's going to be a real identity coming from him. So that's all I got to say. Hey, LaTanya. Hey, Tawanda. Thank y'all again for tuning in. That's all we got.
Yep.
So,
Amen. I mean, I could just say amen to that.
whew. So thank you everybody for tuning in. CeCe, thank you so much, girl. I love you, for your time and with this cookies, cocktails, and conversation. And everybody,
Yes.
if you want to have more further conversations, let us know what you want us to talk about so that we can jump on here and have a real party, okay? And really talk some real talk in regards to what is going on in the world and how we can best serve and support, because that's all we want to do is just to serve and to support and to help where needed and necessary. So with that said, thank you everybody. Thank you, Coach CeCe. And
Absolutely.
thank you
Thank you
everybody
so
for
much.
tuning in. So y'all
Thank
have
you,
a great time.
beautiful. Had a great time with cookies, cocktails, and conversations. And I just want to let everybody know to stay tuned for more magnificent, wonderful, phenomenal, fantastical conversations in the near future.
All right, y'all.
All
Y'all
right.
take care of a good one. Bye.
Bye.